So we'll be talking about so today our webinar is talking about the internet, enhancing its opportunity and maintaining safety. But before that, this webinar is hosted by AngelHack Campus Hub of Futa. That's Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State, Nigeria, West Africa. And we are so delighted to have every one of you join us. And like I said before, we have an interesting topic we'll be talking about tonight, or today rather, and that's about the internet, enhancing its opportunity and maintaining safety. And as we are all aware of the usefulness and the pain of internet, I have with me Mr. Arish and Mr. Olanino, who are my great and experienced speakers that will be shedding more light about the opportunities in the net and also maintaining safety while using the net. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Can you all? So we'll just go straight without much ado. We'll just go straight to points. I would like to call up our first speaker, and that's the person of Arish Kotra, to speak on the opportunities in the net, in the internet. But before that, I would like to share with us I would like to brief us about who Harish is. Harish is a software developer, and he has worked as the head of technology for a digital agency. He then moved as a product manager to an IoT company, and now he's a platform lead and also building community for AngelHack. Ideas and APIs are his strengths. He believes architects are the best way to create an impact using technology. Personally, he has invested lots of time into editing and organizing customized architects along with corporate architects in India. He has been actively working for AngelHack Hackathon in India, and as a local ambassador, he realized there has to be a large vision for what he's doing. And over the last 8 years, he has worked alongside startups, mentoring and helping them build their MVPs and products. Speaking about engagement, he was involved in apps bots of websites tech camp that's in South Asia by 2018, building things the non-tech way. That's for a tech camp in Thailand 2018 and so much more. Without much ado, please join me as we welcome Arish to take off from here now and to tell us about the internet and its opportunity. Over to you, Mr. Arish.
Thank you, Wemisola. I hope all of you are able to see my screen. Just say yes in the chat if you're able to see my screen and also hear me correctly.
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you, and I can see your screen too.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction, and good evening, everybody who's joining in, and if it is evening time for you. I'm Harish, and today we're going to look at 4 things. My presentation is going to be extremely simple and also easy to understand, hopefully. And I hope I don't make you sleep. In case you are about to sleep, go get some coffee. And I hope to make it easier for the second speaker who's going to talk about another interesting topic, right? So we'll look at 4 things. One is a quick intro of who I am and why I think I'm relevant to talk about this. And then I will help you set goals post this session that you can actually work upon as students. And then after that, we'll look at what are the action items that you can take as a student. And then what are some of the opportunities, of course, which is why you are here today. Some of the things that I may talk about today are also going to be about in person, not just virtual, which also means that they may be things that you may have to do in person, right? But most of them apply for virtual as well. So stick with me. And if you have any questions throughout my session, please feel free to drop them in the chat or the Q&A box, and I'll pick them up at the end. I'll leave more time for Q&A so that you can happily ask whatever is on your mind. Don't hesitate at all. With that, I am Harish. I currently work for AngelHack and I lead platforms and community. With that, what I essentially mean is whatever tech we use at AngelHack as a company goes through me. And then I also look at the community, which is all the developers, designers, and entrepreneurs that we have, along with our amazing ambassadors that are across the globe. And also some of them are running this event today for all of you. I lead the ambassador program as well. And that's what I do on a day-to-day basis, pretty much running the community at AngelHack. And I've been a developer all my life while I was a student too. And that's why I think some of the things that I'm going to talk about in this session today are mostly from my experience and what I've seen, how students can evolve and grab some of these opportunities that are available. Most of them may sound relevant to you, or also they may sound like, oh, I already know this. Then that also means that you're probably not taking enough action from whatever you already know, right? So if all of this is something that you know, don't blame it on me. It's probably not for you, but still hear me out. Look at this from my perspective and see what are some of the points that you can take away. With that, let's get started. So the first step is setting your goals. How do you set your goals, right? Before we talk about what are the opportunities, how can I leverage these opportunities, where I can find them, what can I do about them? I think it is extremely important as an individual. I'm only talking this from a student's perspective, right? So as a student, it is important for me to understand what do I like in general when I'm looking at my career, right? You may like movies, you may like a lot of things, you may have a lot of passions that you want to do in life, but it is important also to see which one do you want to pursue as your career, right? Most of these also apply to whatever career you choose, while tech is probably the center of where I'm coming from. But yes, setting your goals is extremely important. And some of the key points that I have for you to work upon or take as feedback when you're working on setting goals as a student are these, right? Why does this help? Why should you set goals, right? I think from my perspective, one of the things that is the outcome of setting your goals is probably help you decide what you want to achieve in your life in general, right? Irrespective of your career or your passion or whatever you want to do in life, however you want to grow as a person, this setting your goals will help you decide that very easily, right? While this exercise may seem like a cumbersome one, I would highly encourage all of you to pursue this and try this out, right? Some of the things are be precise when you are talking about goals. By saying precise, I think these should be actionable items that you think you are able to achieve, right? If you are achieving these goals very easily, that means that you have to take it a step forward and probably set harder goals, right? Which is obviously the fourth point that I mentioned, is keeping them realistic, right? You have to set your goals that are realistic to achieve, right? Today, based on my career and what I've done, I cannot say I want to become the president of America or president of India also, right? That is probably not the right goal for me, right? Also, I don't know if I'm able to achieve it. Technically, logically, everybody should be able to achieve that goal, but again, realistic, right? All I'm saying is keep realistic goals, right? And you have to also learn to separate what is important, what is not important, which means what is irrelevant, like I gave you an example of, and also what is probably a distraction, right? You have to find the difference when you're setting a goal with all of these things, right? You have to find the most important thing for you as a person, right? This can be different from me to you to anybody else on this call who is listening to this on YouTube also, right? Your preferences, your choices, your likes, what you want to do as a person will always be different from anybody else that you want to compare yourself with. Ideally, you shouldn't, but you want to look up to, right? So always think of this as for you to do, right? The next thing is always write down what you want to do, right? All the goals that you want to achieve or set for yourself, make sure you write them down. They may be in the most naive format, or they may not be as great as something that you want to achieve, but it is always important to write them down. And obviously set priorities. What do you want to do today? What do you want to do in the next 1 week? What do you want to do in the next 1 month? What do you want to do in the next quarter? And what do you want to do in the next year? And what do you want to or where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years, right? If you're able to dissect this at this level, at this granular level, and set goals for each of these, I think this will eventually become your practice, right? And if you think this is bullshit and you won't be able to do this, which is me, right? I as a person won't be able to set so many things, but but at the same time, you can still set goals for at least one target, right? So try and set goals. If it doesn't work for you, it is still okay, right? This is not a hard set rule to follow, but this is one way of setting goals. You can always set goals in your mind also and don't have to write them down, but these are some practices that will help you stay accountable to yourself, right? While setting goals, you're not setting them for anybody else or the whole world, but you're only setting it for yourself, and these will help you stay on the same track to achieve these goals, right? So that's why you should set goals. I think without boring you much more, I will probably move to the next item, which is action items, right? What are some things that you can do as a student today and start leveraging and work towards the opportunities that are available, right? The first thing is there are a lot more points that I could have added in this, but these are some of the things that you could do today, which is one, create a brand for yourself. By brand, I mean your name is the brand, right? If I were to put it in simple words, if you look up your name on Google and your social profile show up, that is a great start, right? Now you can decide what you want to show when somebody looks up your name on Google, right? That's a very basic or rudimentary example of what a brand is, though it means so much more also, but this is for your current understanding. And always be active on the right social media, which technically is LinkedIn and Twitter if you're looking for opportunities, or let's say opportunities are in many forms, right? If you're looking for internships or jobs, or if you want to network and find relevant people that are doing similar things that you want to do, right? And obviously find the right social channels depending on your goals, right? If you want to become a photographer, or if you want to excel in photography, or if you want to excel in video production, as I said, this can be relevant to multiple forms of careers. So always think about what you want to do, right? So find the right social media, right? If you want to excel in video production or photography, these two may not be the right choice, right? The right choice for you in that case could be Instagram or any other social channels where these people are really active at, right? So you have to always pick the right social channels and start building your brand there. And don't hesitate or worry about what you write there or what you post there or what your profile looks like, because it's a gradual process. It doesn't happen in one day or 1 hour. You will start learning. All you have to do is just start, because after that you will look at other profiles, you will look at what others are saying or writing about, and then eventually you will learn from them and then adopt to how you want to take it forward for yourself, right? So don't hesitate to start, right? I think taking the first step is the the hardest point. The second thing is engage, right? There are many forms of engagement. As I mentioned, you can find relevant influencers in the area that you want to pursue as a career, or you can always find relevant events or workshops or meetups that are happening where you can be present and acquire enough knowledge, and also probably network if you're somebody who's capable of doing networking very easily. I am not. That's why I'm saying this with a little hesitation. But yeah, attend these events, be present at these events that are relevant to you, right? Let's say I want to become a backend developer, right? Look at what are the events that are happening, because now it has become easily accessible with everything being virtual. So look at what events are happening, look at who are the speakers that are talking, what they have done, and see if it interests you and join those events, right? Acquire knowledge. I'm not saying join every single event, but find the right event that you think is relevant to you, and you can also probably take away from that event. So find such events that you can be part of. And then, as I mentioned on slide, you don't have to necessarily network. Just sometimes just being present will give you enough knowledge and things to do for yourself post the event, right? For example, I'm sure if I'm able to deliver this talk properly, you'll have enough action items to do post this event also, right? So yeah, again, the point being, don't worry if you can't network like me. It's absolutely fine. Just be present at those events. You may not know how opportunities will come to you. And the last one is leverage, right? after doing the first two steps, I think you will start gaining traction. One way of leveraging is, let's say I found the speaker at an event very interesting. And if I want to become a community lead or a community manager eventually in my career and build developer communities like what I do today, I would ideally reach out to the speaker and see if I can get him to run an event for me or come speak at my event. That's one example of leveraging, right? The other is just connect with them. And at any point in the future, if you want to ask any question, you can feel free to reach out to them, because most of them are very accommodative, unless they're Elon Musk, right? Everybody else in this industry is pretty accommodative of people asking for help. And again, don't hesitate to ask for help. That's how we've come as speakers to this session, I'm sure. Eventually, you will also, right, find the right path by leveraging what you get by building a brand for yourself and start to engage with the rest of the world with your brand. And also, all of this has to revolve around what you want as an individual, right? In terms of career. If you want to become a photographer and you are sitting in a backend developer conference, it doesn't make sense. So make sure you try and identify. It's also not easy to identify what you want to do. That in itself is probably like a huge thing for you to crack, but it's a step-by-step process, right? Your interest today may change to what you are as a person 5 years later, but you can still pursue what your interests are today and pick up the career right now. As I mentioned, I've already actually highlighted some of the opportunities that are available. We've come to the last part of the session, so don't worry. If you're still with me, I hope you are. Here are some of the opportunities that you can take leverage of on the internet and also offline. Some of them are offline, but as a student, right? I think one thing that every student has is age on their side. Though many will say age is just a number, but I think age, you're still young to experiment a lot, try and fail and fall on your feet and still get up, right? Not many have that choice after they become seniors in their career. There will only be few things to do, but again, there will always be outcasts. But this is a common pattern that at least I have seen, right? So what are the opportunities that are available on the internet? There are multiple platforms, multiple websites that I will mention while I'm talking about each of these, but make sure you watch this back at a later stage or just note them down while I'm saying. First is internships. Obviously, as a student, I think that's the first thing that everybody has easier access to. There are many websites out there that offer internships, including LinkedIn, right? I think being on LinkedIn itself is enough to get started with finding these opportunities. And don't hesitate to apply to any big company or a small company, right? It doesn't matter. As long as it is relevant to you and it is something that you want to pursue as an individual, go ahead and apply to it, right? And try and see if the internships are paid internships. And also, if you're someone who cannot really travel or go to an office, or if the company's office is offshore, I think everybody nowadays offers work from home internships too, right? Find those internships. You can always filter them. I'm sure every country, every region has their own best internship portal. So I'm sure by now you know that portal. Just don't hesitate to apply to internships and look for the relevant ones, right? If you want to pursue backend development, you should probably look at an internship that offers backend development as a role, but not front end, right? But if you want to become a full stack developer, you can look at both the roles and start with full stack front end first, and then eventually go to back end. And always ask questions about what the internship really offers, right? Sometimes companies just don't care about interns and get them to do very mundane stuff. But it is also important for you to have this discussion prior to becoming an intern, right? But yeah, internships, you can do many internships when you're a student. So make sure you take the best internship that you can get. LinkedIn is one platform. Peerlist is one of the recent platforms, but majority for Indians for now. But yeah, eventually it will become global. Then Twitter also. If you're on Twitter, if you don't tweet also, it's fine, as long as you find your inspirations or your role models or people you look up to on Twitter. A lot of them actually share about internships or job opportunities that they have. on Twitter too, right? So this happens actively, and a lot of these developer communities have their own Discord and Slack channels, right? When I say communities, that is what I mean. So feel free to join these, right? You don't have to necessarily interact every single day, but joining itself will give you the first step of visibility of finding these internships much more easily, right? And the next one is participate in a lot of hackathons or coding competitions, or uh, build your competitive coding profile. If you're into competitive coding, you don't have to build a, all of these are optional, right? I'm not saying this as something that you have to do today or from now, right? Hackathons are for everybody. We run a lot of hackathons at AngelHack. There is DevPost that also runs a lot of hackathons. Then there is Hacker Earth, which runs a lot of coding competitions where you can participate. And participating in these is actually very easy, because most of these competitions, except for coding competitions where they have selective hiring that is happening for specific roles. But yes, they also have intern based competitions where it is for a technical internship or a coding internship. So find these on the right websites, right? And also find relevant developer communities, like for example, dev.to is one, Hashnode is another popular one, and a lot of other platforms, for example, like Postman have their own Discord. And most of these tech companies either have a Discord or Slack channel or a Facebook group or a meetup group. Make sure you find them and join them, right? It is very hard to compile these and give you as a list, because it is extremely variable, and also it is just too many platforms to list in one slide or just share in one presentation. So I'm just telling you where to go to find these and become part of them. And the next one is volunteer. Volunteer to help organize an event, volunteer to also participate and attend an event, or just offer help to be present at an event, right? That gives you a different perspective, right? If you're looking at community manager as a role, or if you want to eventually build communities and work as a dev relationship role in DevRel role, or if you want to become someone with technology and also marketing role together, that is something you can explore, where you are organizing events and attending events constantly, and also offer to volunteer, right? Because that also gives you a fresh perspective of how events are run, what all it takes to run events. And the last one is obviously, as you are learning and growing as a person, I think becoming a content creator is also a great option, where you are sharing what you learn. And there are many people who actually look forward to that. So, but if you have hesitation of coming in front of the camera and talking to yourself or creating content, it's still fine, but that's still an option, right? Many people just started their YouTube channels by sharing what they learn and have become extremely successful, right? If that is something that you want to pursue, I think sharing what you're learning for others to also make a note of and use is probably a good way to start doing content creation. And then, of course, for students, there are many ambassador programs, including one at AngelHack. Right now, we are not accepting any student ambassadors, but yes, some of the companies where you can join as a student ambassador is Postman. Postman is a REST API client where you can test APIs using their platform. They have an excellent student ambassador program. The next one is Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program. Then there is GitHub Campus Expert program. Then there is, of course, AngelHack Ambassador program. Then, yeah, find ambassador programs with global companies, because that is where you will also get to network and find other students from across the globe, and will also give you an opportunity to see what is happening in other countries, or what people others are learning, or what types of events others are running, for you to take inspiration from, right? In fact, that's how this campus hub has started, as part of the student ambassador program itself. While the ambassador programs get you a lot of perks and swag and all of that, I think beyond all of that is the learning that you can take away from being part of these ambassador programs. So yeah, I think those are some of the opportunities that are the easiest to explore from my perspective. And that's my last slide. If you have any questions, now is probably the right time. You can post in the Q&A box or in the chat. And I hope that was useful and short also. Don't hesitate to ask any questions. If you want to ask anonymously, you can also ask in the Q&A box. But yes, we'll take a few minutes before we jump to the next part of today's event.
Thank you, Mr. Arish, for this enlightening session. So if anyone has questions, you can just signify by the raise of hand, or you can just write it out or type it down in the chat box. The answer to you. And I guess we have learned one or two, or even more than that, from just this short um, session we had with Mr. Harris, because I was jotting down some things, and then we talked about setting goals as students and setting of career options and like setting and keeping realistic goals. So that way, even in our tech career, when we set goals, we're able to achieve it, even though it may be a naive one. Just write it down, and definitely you would achieve those goals if you put your mind to it. And then we talked about the opportunities you can um, get from the
Yeah, I think
internship.
we have first question from Dharmola, which is, can you recommend interns platforms for us? The first platform that I would recommend is LinkedIn, of course, and the other one is Indeed. These are commonly known platforms, I'm sure, but you have to learn to filter internships out from this platform to find the right internships. And the other platform that I would also, or I'm not sure if it is present in your country to be specific, but every country has this startup publication platform. Usually in India, it is Your Story. It could also be the same in Africa also. Your Story is probably has some presence in Africa, or any startup publication that talks about investments or fundraising by startups will also have a jobs board where they talk about what are the opportunities that are available for internships, right? That's a great way to find internships. And Twitter, as I mentioned, is the last one. Yeah, there are many more. Like for example, Intern Match is another one. Hirect is a platform where you can find internships. Hirect is an app. Not sure if it is present in Africa, but yeah, those are some platforms. I think LinkedIn would be my first priority always if I'm looking for an internship.
Any more questions? So, uh, I guess Mr. Damlari's question has been answered, right?
Yeah, cool. If you have any questions, my email is right there. Okay, we have one more question. With the emergence of Web3, do you think most developed countries who are yet to enjoy the best of what Web2 provides won't be left behind? How can we annex the power of Web3 with the Internet of Things? Oh wow, I think there are multiple layers to this question to begin with. Great question also. Uh, I don't think companies will be left out in terms of, sorry, countries will be left out behind or anything like that with the emergence of Web3, because Web3 is still nascent, if I were to call it. There is a lot more that will eventually happen with Web3, and nobody will be left behind, right? And how Web3 can work with Internet of Things is still being explored, right? It is not fully explored yet. But I think to get started with Web3, I think it is also important to fundamentally understand how Internet works. While today, as someone without any experience, you can build apps for Web3. As a student or as somebody who wants to explore Web3, what I would do is probably understand how Internet works, because that will make my fundamentals stronger and also will give me enough knowledge about Web3 itself to be able to do some really uh, important work than just build apps without knowing how they work or why they work in a certain format. But yeah, understanding Web2 first and how Internet works, and then trying and seeing what Web3 has to offer, what is it in the first place, what are some of the blockchains that are extremely popular, attend the hackathons like we organize, to get started with these platforms and learn the basics of how they work, and slowly go from there, right? Don't worry about being left out. It's yeah, it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it at all. Nobody will be left out. I hope I answered the question.
I guess all questions are being answered.
Great. Yeah, I was saying, if you have any further questions, you can write down to me on my email, or you can find me on Twitter at Harish Kotra, or you can reach out to one of the organizers, and they'll probably help you connect with me. Thank you so much, AngelHack Campus of Futa, for inviting me for the session. I'll be around to answer any questions that you may have uh, at the end of this session, probably. But yes, thank you so much, and over to you, Bamisola.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Alish. I appreciate it. So up next, we'll call in our next speaker, and that's the person of Mr. Shegun Olamide. Mr. Shegun Olamide, before he comes up, I would like to brief us about who Mr. Shegun Olamide is. Mr. Shegun Olamide is a cybersecurity professional, excellent skills in third-party vendor management, identify gaps in control implementation, works with business owners to identify control implementation and compliance gaps, develop remediation plans, and ensure that third-party vendors comply with company policy standards and procedures. He received the 2022 Outstanding Cybersecurity Professional Honor Award for Blacks in Cybersecurity in recognition of his exemplary cybersecurity practice in the Black community. He has taught and created awareness for over 500 female cybersecurity enthusiasts across 7 African countries, as well as more than 500 tech enthusiasts in Nigeria. He has delivered presentations at more than 15 cybersecurity webinars and conferences to over 1,000 audience. He has contributed to several cybersecurity periodicals and has authored over 20 articles on cybersecurity and technology. Presently, he performs research, evaluation, and reporting on various scams for end-user protection at Logo Paul Mega, the cybersecurity foundation community, where he volunteers as a scam awareness analyst. He is the co-founder of Cyber Safety Media and lead speaker at Cyber Safety Webinars, a security awareness movement that teaches internet users about cyber safety, cybersecurity best practices, and the most up-to-date cyber defense measures. Join me as we welcome Mr. Olamide as he enlightens us and society about safety on the internet. You're welcome, Mr. Shegun.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. It's really long, right? Okay, thank you so much. It's good to be here. I want to appreciate AngelHack, the whole community and the leadership for giving me this opportunity to be here and to speak to great minds here, right? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I hope that you would be able to learn one or two things and a few security measures and mechanisms to protect yourself and keep your data safe and also protect your loved ones, right? To that, we should now. Okay. Yes, maintaining safety on the internet. Maintaining safety on the internet. That's what we'll be talking about very briefly. Of course, I have limited time to talk about this, but I will try my best to be fast about it, right? Already you've heard my profile, so if you want to know more about me, you can hop onto LinkedIn and check me out, right? Okay, so I will just start with this quote from Stefan Napel, Stefan Napo is one of the greatest chief information security officer that I've ever lived. He's still living, right? So he's a great man. And one of his quotes says, "Threat is a mirror of security gaps." Whenever you see any attempt of bridging a protocol or a standard, it means that there is a gap that is being taken advantage of or that is being exploited, right? Okay, so cyber threat is mainly a reflection of our weaknesses. So when you see an organization or even human being hacked, maybe an online account being hacked, or somebody, a cyber criminal successfully, exhibits social engineering method on an individual, uh, that act is reflecting the weakness of that individual. So anytime you see that an organization got hacked, it means that that organization is reflecting their weaknesses, because there can't be any breach if there are no vulnerabilities, that is weaknesses, right? So an accurate vision of digital and behavioral gap is crucial for a consistent cyber resilience. For us to maintain a consistent cyber resilience, that is for you to stay consistently safe while using the internet, while interacting with the internet, you have to have the vision of your digital and behavioral gaps. That is, you have to take it upon yourself to see what are your behavioral gaps, what are your weaknesses before an outsider, before an external, individual, an external entity, identifies that gap and takes advantage of it to get at you. And as this applies to individuals, it also applies to companies. But of course, we are focusing on individual, how we can maintain safety on the internet as an individual. So most of these measures and mechanisms and preventive strategies are also approaches that are applicable when it comes to dealing with protecting an organization and helping an organization to maintain cyber resilience. Okay. So quickly before we start, going into, okay, how do I prevent, being hacked? How can I prevent my online account being hijacked? How do I prevent, a lot of things not happening to me while, I enjoy the digital world and enjoy what the cyberspace has to offer, right? We need to talk about what are the different cyber crimes that are, that always, arise against individuals, or that cyber criminals normally use to launch an attack against individuals. So from that standpoint, we'll be able to understand, okay, so how do we then go against, or how do we stand against and prevent ourselves from this? We need to know what we are fighting against before we can even say we want to go ahead with the solution. You need to know the problem before the solution. And this is what we want to look at. What are we fighting against? What are the what are the problems that we are looking to solve, right? So yeah, the first is online scam. Online scam. Now we have different online scams. As you can see, I've listed there investment scam. There are so many people and group of people and organizations or even individual, that have gone ahead to create Ponzi schemes where the main goal is to defraud people, is to embezzle people's money. That was the goal from onset. So they will enlarge themselves as a registered and a valid, organization with a valid investment initiative. But of course, the end goal is to scam people of their money, scam people and collect property from them, money invested, both the return and even the capital. Right? We have scholarship scam. We've seen a lot of people who have invested money in one scholarship or the other, which at the end of the day, they later got to know that those scholarships were actually not existing in the first place, right? There are lottery scams where, they'll tell you play this lottery, there's this lottery that is guaranteed. You will get your return, you get money, you get this. And before you know it, you play it, put your money and whatever return you're supposed to get, you will not have access. And before you know it, these organizations go into thin air, right? This organization, go into thin air, right? Oh, hope I'm still audible and we can still see me. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I
you
think
can still
yes.
see and hear
Okay,
you.
so then we have sales scam. I don't know if any of us have experienced that before. Maybe you bought something online before and you discover that that product or that whatever you have purchased does not even exist in the first place, right? You're only buying a product that does not exist, right? So that is sales scam. Then delivery scam. They will promise you that they will deliver your goods, your packages, and they will collect money from you. And before you know it, you won't be able to find them. You won't be able to reach the support team. You won't be able to reach. These are different online scams. And when it comes to Nigeria, we know the one that is so much trending, the Yahoo scam, right? I don't want to go into that. Okay, so yeah, so we have social media impersonation. Brands, are being impersonated on social media to scam individuals. You see a brand, you see cyber criminals heralding as a legitimate brand. It's a popular brands that you know that these are legit brands. These are brands that are registered and well known. They've delivered over time. So you see cyber criminals, trying to impersonate, herald themselves as those brands and defraud people of their money, of their assets, and the rest of it. Right? Okay, we have online harassment. The way we have harassment offline, the way people harass one another offline, we have it online too. So what we are trying to say is it is still the normal harassment people experience offline. But in this scenario now, we have that harassment being carried out through the use of the internet or through the use of electronic devices or internet connected devices. If somebody scammed you through social media, it becomes an online scam because that harass you through social media, it becomes an online harassment because that harassment was done, via the channel of the internet or via the internet tool using computers like that. Cyber stalking, you see people stalking other people, right, on the internet, to the point where they begin to text you that they know where you are currently. And if they want to kill you at that time, they will begin to describe the environment where you are just to, create that fear in you. And then they begin to ask for funds, right? Begin to ask for money so that they can back up. And then we have blackmailing, online blackmailing, cyber defamation, people, releasing misinformation about individual online. Like these are online harassment, and which are cyber crimes against individual that we are looking for a way to fight against. Right? Okay, so we have identity theft. A lot of people have suffered from this so many times, and they've lost property, they've lost money, and assets. Right? Identity theft is when a cyber criminal steals your identity, like everything that makes you, your personally identifiable information, those information that are so sensitive that can easily identify you. Now in Nigeria, this is so rampant that they use people's identity to take loan on loan apps, and before you know it, the organization or the financial institution begin to harass the other person, and whereas he was not the one that initiated the disbursement of the loan in the first place. So these are, the effect of identity theft. You see fraud, you see forgery using, people's signature and the rest, via internet and the rest to issue. You see invoices that were not issued by organizations being issued, and all kind of things. So how do we go about preventing these crimes, or how do we protect ourselves from experiencing this crime? We now know this the problem we are trying to solve. We see this is what we are fighting against. So how do we fight against it? What are the solutions, right? What are the things we should do as an individual, right? Okay, so let me just move, right? So I call something security mindfulness. This is like a strategy to defending against cybercrime. So when you hear mindfulness, what comes to your mind? What is it that comes to your mind? Consciousness, right? When I say security mindfulness, I'm saying you should engage the digital world. our first speaker was talking about leveraging internet for opportunities. Even while you are leveraging the internet for opportunities, there are times that, people take advantage of that because they know you are looking for internship. They know you are looking for a job. There is even this scam that is, rampant now, these days. It is job offer scam, right? A lot of people have received job offers that are scam, and they've applied. They've even gone for interview. They've done everything possible. And in short, sometimes they even collect money from them, to process this, to process that. Most especially when you are trying to, work your work visa to a country outside your main domain. All those kind of atrocities and crimes. So you need to engage the internet, the digital world, with security consciousness. What I mean by that is every time you are interfacing with technology, every time you're interfacing with the internet, you are coming with a consciousness that anything can happen, and you before you even interface, before you use the internet, you equip yourself with every knowledge possible. You equip yourself with everything possible for you to be careful. You know that you are not supposed to click on certain links. You know that you are not supposed to download software from website that you do not trust. All this kind of, you armed yourself with all these best practices. That becomes a consciousness. And so while you are surfing the internet, that becomes your consciousness. So you want to click something, you are clicking, thinking, like having 1001 thoughts that this might happen, this might happen. If this happens, what should I do? This is, and this, you see that is I'm not going all technical, right? Because a lot of people have thought that for you to protect yourself against this cybercrime, you need to be very techy, which is not true. Because even these criminals, they are using psychology, they are using social engineering, playing with people's emotions and minds, playing with people's intelligence, taking advantage of people's weaknesses. So, so they are not going the route of technology. Why hack technology when it is easier to hack humans? In short, go and make your research. Most of the cyber attacks that have happened over time, industry cyber attack, right, that have happened over time, started with an entity, an individual. In the last Cisco hack that happened, it was an employee that was compromised. An employee was compromised. And that was how they got access to the VPN that have been used before in Cisco. And from there, they had access and moved literally into their network and began to download classified information. So what are we protecting? We are protecting our information. There are 4 things that a cyber criminal is that a cyber criminal will look for when they come after you. Number 1 is your identity. Your identity. That's the first thing they are looking for, your identity. Number 2, they are looking for your sensitive information. Number 3, they are looking for your money. I know that most of us will say, I don't have so much, I don't have too much. So cyber criminals will not come for me. That is a lie, because they are not only looking for your money. They are looking for data for them to get a better, you might not have the money they are looking for, but you will have relatives that has the kind of money they are looking for. So the reason why they might be coming for you might be that they want to get to some of your, trusted associates that has what they want, right? So money, the third, and the fourth is your online account. They want those 4 things. That is, any cyber criminal or any hacker that is hacking to do, they are looking for those 4 things. When they hack organizations, they are looking for sensitive information. They're looking for classified information that can be used, traded on dark web, on deep web, for money and for any other thing. They have different, So let me just leave this. So how do you conduct personal risk management? So, we conduct risk management in an organization, right? Just to identify what are the control implementation gaps, what are the compliance gaps, what are the risks associated with the technologies we have implemented? How do we reduce that risk profile of that application? And then how do we identify the vulnerabilities and the weaknesses in such application and or such system, and then develop a remediation plan that will help us to contain and, if not even totally eradicate, the risk, right? So the same way it is applicable in an organization, it is applicable to is applicable to individuals. You must learn how to identify and classify your personally identifiable information. Your information. You must learn how to see, okay, what information about me is most vulnerable? What information about me is most sensitive? If this kind of information gets exposed on the internet, what risk will it have on me? For example, most of us in Nigeria, we use our mother's maiden name, as a security question for our bank account. Now, that kind of information, if it gets exposed on the internet, you're in trouble because your money will be at stake. For example, we have bank verification number, right? Then in US, they have a social security number. Now, these are highly sensitive information that should not get on the internet. So by categorizing and trying to look at this information, if they get exposed, what risk will it pose to my life? That will help you to identify and then classify, right? So classify, identify and classify sensitive information about you. Then use search engine like Google to discover if the identified information is publicly available. I do it many times. I will go on Google and search for my name. I want to see what information of me is available on the internet. Then when you see one that you are not comfortable with, you have to take them down. Now that taking them down is a topic for another day. It's not something we can discuss here, because Google has, there are these policies, and you have to write some letters. There's this organization or this agency that is in charge of taking down information on the internet and the rest of it. Very complex stuff, right? You have to take them down. Then identify technologies and applications that you interact with. Most of us register on applications and then we abandon those applications. Our information is still on the application, but we are not using them. For example, if you have your password on an application that you have abandoned for 2 years and you are repeating that same password for another online account you are just creating, you are in trouble. Because if that application, because you have abandoned it for a long time, got hijacked, your account on that application got hijacked, right? It can be it can be so dangerous that they will use the same password, because you are using the same password, to then log into all your accounts. You are using the same password for all your accounts. Okay, can we still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, so I will quickly rush now. I know I've taken so much time, right? Okay, so we've identified, we've abandoned so many applications that we don't even look back to them, and then some of our sensitive information, like our password that we repeat all over, is still on those applications. Sometimes we even see some applications or some accounts that we have registered, and we'll be like, when did I register this, right? So you need to identify technologies and applications you have interacted with over time, right? Yeah, over time. And then you check if any of the identified information, I said you should classify your information. That is, you can put it in such a way that you say this one is high risk, this one is low risk, this one is medium risk, right? That if this one gets exposed on the internet, I am really in trouble. Right. So if that kind of information about you is identified and now resides on technologies and applications you use, then you need to examine those technologies and applications if they are secure enough to host that high level sensitive information. So for example, a calculator application should be asking you for your BVN. That is off. What does BVN, bank verification number, has to do with a calculator application? So these are the things. And most of us, we don't even check some of these things. We don't check the privacy policy. We don't check some of the, we don't check some of these things. These are things we need to check for you to manage the risk of using technologies, the risk of using internet. Okay, I'm rushing now. Okay, so how do you then strengthen your personal security posture? You need to employ defense in-depth approach and surround yourself with personal security mechanisms like chariots. When this, in olden days, when they go for war like that, they have chariots positioned strategically. You need to, employ security measures and then surround yourself with it. And that is why cybersecurity is not a single point product. It is a process.
It is not a single point. That is why you see they will say implement firewall, implement firewall, implement access control list, and then use antivirus. You put everything together because it is a process that deals with people, technology, and process itself, right? Okay. So personal security posture, I'm going to be quickly rushing through password security, social media security, emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is a topic that is not widely discussed, a mass amidst people, right? Yeah. And this is some of the things that these cyber security, cyber criminals, take advantage of your emotions. They create fear in people. They create a sense of urgency. They establish relationship with people just for them to hack them, just for them to scam them. These are emotional intelligence. People need to understand this, right? Okay, so let me quickly rush so that I will entertain questions. Password security. I know you would have heard some of this before, concerning password. Use complex password, but hard to get, hard to guess, but easy to remember. Right? Hard to guess, but easy to remember. Use different passwords for different accounts. I cannot overemphasize this. It is so important. Use different passwords for different accounts or devices. Use password manager. If your account is getting too many, use password managers to manage these different varieties of passwords. Do not use password hints. I know password hints helps remember whatever password you have set, but it is dangerous because that hint that helps you can help a cyber criminal. It can help an hacker, right? So do not in any way reveal your password to others, no matter how. I don't know, your mom, your dad, no. They too, they should not reveal theirs to you, right? So these are password best practices. You have to, keep your password safe because I know that the main and the major, authentication method that is being widely used today is password and username. Basically, password, right? Is password, so you need to keep it safe. Right? Now, social media security, limit the amount of information you disclose on the social media. Be very careful what information you disclose on the social media. It is not everything you need to share. You are going out, you are traveling. I'm traveling now. I'm on the road from Lekki to Ibadan. Already people know you are on that route. At least within the next 1 hour, you are there, right? Now, not everything you should share. This is cybersecurity because it is the internet. You share it on the internet. So yeah, use different passwords for different accounts. I've said that before. All your social media accounts. You remember the 4 things I said hackers are looking for or cyber criminals are looking for? Number 1 is your identity. Number 2, your sensitive information. Number 3, your money. And number 4 is your online account. Those 4 things is what cyber criminals are looking for when they come after you. Right? Do not use public Wi-Fi to log on to your social media accounts. It is dangerous because public Wi-Fi are not encrypted. The connection between the client and the Wi-Fi are not connected, are not encrypted. So it means that many of the information you'll be sending over to whatever website or whatever you connected to will be in plain text. That is too dangerous. Right? Use two-factor authentication. In short, use multi-factor authentication. Authentication is the ability for you to identify with an application so that you can gain access to that application. So it means that it is verifying, the process of verifying your identity in order for you to gain access. So when we now say two-factor, it means we are saying there are different factors of authentication. We have something you know, which is your PIN, your password. Those are something you know. We have something you have, which are your physical token, your smart card, and USB stick that you use as key, and the rest of them. Then we have something you have, which is the strongest of those 3 factors. That is your biometrics. That is what characterizes you as an individual. What makes you you? What makes you different from other people? Now, I know there is this talk around, fingerprints, fingerprints not being unique anymore. People's fingerprints are becoming, even at that, is still the most, secured factor of authentication. So your iris, your fingerprints, face ID, and the rest of it. So it means that, so when we now say multi-factor, it means that while you are using your password to log in, you acquire or you demand for two or more other, level of verification, so that, the application will be able to ascertain that you are who you claim to be. So while you are using your password, the application is sending a one-time password again, which is something you have to you. After that, you are authenticating with your iris or your, that makes it very difficult for any cyber criminal to hijack your social media account. So after this webinar, if you have not implemented or you have not enabled two-factor, multi-factor authentication on your social media account, go and do it now. Because when a cyber criminal hijacks your account, the first thing they activate on your behalf is this two-factor authentication. So that the next time they want to authenticate, they will be authenticating on your behalf. And when they activate this on your behalf, it becomes very difficult, even for Facebook or even Instagram or even whatever account, to help you to recover the account. So now, if your Facebook has been hacked before, you can go to facebook.com/hacked. Follow the instruction. They can help you to recover your Facebook account. That is, if it is not beyond recovery. Right? Okay, if it is not beyond what they can recover. Okay, the fifth point there is be careful of who you add and accept as friends. Be careful of who you add and accept as friends. Now, I know that connection and networking is great, right? It is great. It is great. But even at that, you need to try and check the profile of the person that is trying to add you. Okay, I should come again, right? Oh, okay. I don't know which part I should come again with. Okay, I said I know that connection and networking is key. It is part of what makes you grow. It is part of what makes you grow, even in your career and even in life. You have to connect with people that will help you. You have to connect with people that will, recommend you. But even at that, on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, you should be mindful of the kind of people you connect with. Right? Now, let me just lay down this rule. Now, if you have, okay, about Facebook. Yeah, okay. So I said, if your Facebook has been hacked before and you are still looking for a way to recover it, and you did not use two-factor authentication, right? It becomes difficult to recover, right? So you can go to facebook.com/hacked. So that will help you. Facebook will help you to, they'll ask you a few questions and they will tell you to provide some few documents and the rest, right? And they will help you to recover that account. They will help you to recover that account. Okay. So now what I'm saying is that you should be careful of who you had, because people might deliberately hack you because they want to scam you. They might deliberately hack you because they want to connect with you because they want to hack your account. Okay, yeah, don't worry. I would attend to questions, right? I will attend to questions. Yeah. How do you activate or enable two-factor authentication? During the question time, I will address that. Right. Okay. Now, as I was saying, connection. Right. We are at connection. So yeah, be careful. When it comes to connection, be careful. Change your password often. A lot of us, since we registered Facebook, we have never changed our password. Since we registered Instagram, since we registered on our accounts, the different accounts we use on the social media, we have never changed. It is a bad, it's not a best practice to protect yourself from being hacked or from your account being hijacked, right? So you need to change your password often. Change it often. Now, the way you change your toothbrush, I want to believe you don't use one toothbrush for 6 months. You change your toothbrush. Right? Okay, so you have to change your password also. You have to change your password the way you change your underwears, right? So change your password often. These are the security measures that will help you to protect your online account from being hijacked. Now, why haven't they hijacked my account? Why haven't they hijacked some other person's account? Why is it that it is your own like that? Then that means you are doing something. There must be something wrong somewhere. And this is why this webinar is coming, so that you be careful, you become conscious when you are surfing the internet, you become conscious when you're on the social media, and then you protect, you guard your information, sensitive information jealously, right? You guard it jealously. Okay, so I'm moving. Yeah, so this is so interesting. Let's talk about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, right? Now, now there is a saying in cybersecurity that humans are the weakest link in an organization, which is true, because technology does not have emotion. Devices does not have emotion. Of course, I know artificial intelligence is levitating to that point where they begin to create emotional, intelligence systems or emotional intelligence machines, right? But we've not really gotten there. I know recently, and the Engineering Act, they were able to create an intelligent robot that has facial expression that responds to stimulus. We are getting there, but we are not there yet. So human beings are still the emotional, beings that we have, or the emotional creature that we have right now. So now, with this, we need to be conscious of our emotions, because cyber criminals, social engineers, there's something called social engineering. Now, social engineering is the act of manipulating humans to make security mistakes. You see, manipulation. They don't necessarily need to use technology. Manipulation, just by words and some tricks. Before you know it, you are saying what you are not supposed to say. Before you know it, you are saying what you are not supposed to say. Right? Okay. So now, emotional intelligence helps you to focus on self-awareness. It helps you to focus on who you are, what you are made of, your components, your weaknesses, your strengths, so that you can take conscious effort on working on those weaknesses that can be exploited by a cyber criminal, right? So the ability to recognize your own emotions. Now, you need to watch it if you get angry easily. You need to watch it if you have greed. Now, almost everybody has greed, right? Almost everybody is greedy. It's just that the level of greed differs from one individual to another. So it depends on how greedy you are, right? So there are some people that are so greedy that, right, they don't want to know if something is legit. They don't want to know if something is true. They don't want to validate. Immediately they see that there's an incentive, money is involved, they are going to get this and that, they are jumping on it. Now, when cyber criminals discover that a human has greed as a weakness, they exploit that weakness. They take advantage of it. Right? They take advantage of it. When they see that you are easily attached to failure, they come from the standpoint, they make their research about you, and then look at the several times you have failed in your life and begin to bring that memory back. And then by that they will get your soft spot. And before you know, you begin to say what you're not supposed to say. You begin to reveal information you are not supposed to reveal to third party. Right? Now, another trick they use is they establish a cordial relationship with you. They make sure that you gain their trust. So they do everything possible. When they see that your weakness is you easily trust people, right? So they take advantage of that, and boom, before you know it, you will gain their trust, and then they will ask you for your password and ask you for other information about your account. Because you have trusted them, you have confidence in them, because of the relationship they've established with you, then you will begin to tell them, what are friends for? This person has been with me. Of course, he's a friend now, even though we knew each other 3 days ago, right? Emotions. So, and some of their tricks is they create a sense of urgency. When they send messages out, they try to stimulate that sense of urgency and say, if you are not doing this right now, a bad thing will happen. And before you know it, you are pouring or pouring everybody, compressing, putting pressure on everybody so that you can do what they are telling you to do. So you need to focus on self-awareness. Know who you are, know what you are, know your competence, know your limitations and your strengths. These are the things that will help you to be able to protect yourself. So when they come with their tactics, you already, because you've worked on yourself, you already know this person. And the way now cybersecurity has turned me into something else. Because when somebody is talking to me, I am looking beyond the words that are coming out of the person's mouth. I am trying to decipher what is the intent and intention of this person. When I'm in a bus or I'm in a taxi, a Uber or something, and only me is there, I am already thinking 101 ways of escaping if this driver turns out to be a kidnapper. That is what cybersecurity has made me to become. Proactive. You must become proactive. Before they scam you, scam yourself. So that you know that, okay, if this happens, this is the way out. Of course, if these things will happen, phishing emails will come. Smishing emails will come. That is a phishing message that is being sent through SMS. Phishing email will come through voice to manipulate you, for you to reveal sensitive information and release your credit card or payment details or something. These things will come, but now this consciousness and the emotional, the intelligence you have gathered so far is what we, yes, use your brain, is what will help you, right? So these are the things that will really help you. We're talking about staying safe on the internet, right? So manage your emotions. Manage your emotions. If you discover, don't be embarrassed. If you discover that you are too attached to material things, you need to work on it, because that can be a weakness that will be exploited, even to the point of getting through you to hack the organization you are working for. Engage self-regulation, the ability to wisely manage, your emotions and your impulses. So try to think about, situations before you act. Don't just act. Don't just shift into action. Think. Okay. Then we have the online safety. I'll just quickly mention this, and oops. Okay, let's go back to online safety. Okay, right. Okay, so now secure web browsing. That is, how do you browse the internet safely and securely? Be careful of shorting links. I know there are shorting links that are being rolled out on our social media platforms, most especially instant messaging apps like WhatsApp, like Facebook messaging and the rest, right? So be careful of shorting links. Now, shorting links are, have original links behind them. So the best thing to do is for you to know the original link behind the shorting link. You can type shorting unshorting, UN unshorting.it or unshorting.me, unshorting.it or unshorting.me, unshorting.it or unshorting. So this way you'll be able to know the original link behind a shortened link, right? Okay, so yeah, the next thing is always clear your browser cache and cookies. Now, cookies are not bad, cache are not bad. These are just an advanced, memory that helps you to optimize your browsing experience. Like cookies. Now, cookies store your browsing histories and makes it leverage that information of your browsing history to give you optimized browsing experience. So they are not bad in themselves, but hackers have leveraged different technologies to make sure that they take advantage of the information stored in these cookies and in these memories like cache and the cookies, to hijack online sessions, browsing sessions. They're using man in the middle attack and browser in the browser attack and the rest of the attack that happens on the browser like that. So, and another thing is, do not save your password on your browser. A lot of people do that mistake. Don't save, because if a browser in the browser attack happens, it means that your password that you have saved on your will be, accessed by the hacker or the cyber criminal. Do not download software from untrusted sites. Make sure that you download software from trusted sites, from original sites that owns the software. Then use a security browser, Brave browser. I'm using Brave browser. Brave browser is superb. I'm not marketing for them, but when somebody has a good and great product, you should talk about it. Right? So you can use Brave browser. Brave browser comes with pop-up ad blocks, and it comes with script blockers and trackers. It comes with now Brave browser helps you to convert an HTTP website to HTTPS. What is HTTP? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Now that protocol is the protocol that helps you to communicate over the internet. It helps you to communicate. Tor browser. Tor browser is for privacy. Yeah, of course you can use Tor browser, but Tor browser will not be able to block pop-ups, and Tor browser will not be able to convert HTTP to HTTPS. Yeah, Tor browser too is very great for privacy. You want to browse and you don't want them to see your IP address and the rest of them, right? But Brave browser has some other more features than Tor browser when it comes to converting HTTP to HTTPS, blocking trackers and scripts, blocking malicious scripts and the rest, right? Okay, so yeah. Then PC security. We talked about internet abuse. Now, most of us use our personal computer to connect to the internet. So you need to safeguard that computer that you're using to connect to the internet. So always patch and update PC software. I know most of us, we normally postpone our updates. Brave browser, B-R-A-V-E, Brave browser. That's the name of the browser. Okay, so I know most of us, we normally postpone and push, we normally push and postpone updates, which is very bad habit. Please, if you are part of them, stop postponing your updates. Recently, that's Apple, announced that everybody should go and update their OS because there are bugs that have been fixed in the previous one. Now, some people will be postponing that, they'll be postponing that, they'll be postponing that. Google Chrome, is Google Chrome not secured enough? It is not. Google Chrome is not secured enough. Google Chrome is a browser. It is not a security browser. It is a normal browser like Firefox and the rest. So, okay, so yeah, right. Never leave your PC unlocked or unattended to. I know a lot of us are guilty of this. You want to go and get something, you want to go and you will leave your PC. You will leave it like that. You will not lock it, you just leave it. Now, what you don't understand is there are certain commands that can be issued on command line interface like the command prompt and on the terminal of a Linux system that can wipe your system. Just one command line, yes. Yes, that will wipe your system. Just one, they will type that one command and press enter. It will wipe your system. So it is dangerous to be leaving your system unlocked or unattended to like that. I've not heard of MetaMask before. Is that a browser? Okay, so now back up your sensitive data. There is OneDrive, there is Google Drive, there is Box.com and the rest of them. Make sure you are backing up sensitive data that you know or files that you know that they're very sensitive. Enable firewall protection on your system. There is host-based firewall on your system. Firewall is a security device that helps you to filter the traffic that come into, that is ingress, into your system, and the traffic that goes out, that is egress of your system. And sometimes it does not only block network traffic, it also blocks unwanted processes that you might want to run on your system, right? Okay, never click on unknown links and attachments in your email. If you have seen that an email is looking looking somehow, you're not clear with it, do not click the link. Don't be fast to click links. Even in your email, over on the link to see the original link. Don't just download attachments. If you are not expecting any email from anybody, don't download the attachment, don't click the link. Never plug untrusted removable storage media to your PC. A lot of us will copy films from here to there. We copy. Do not plug untrusted removable storage. Do not download or install untrusted software on your PC. Install antivirus and always scan your PC for virus detection. Now, I will recommend one anti-malware to you. It also has an antivirus. Immunet. Go and type on Google, Immunet, from Immune. So it will now be Immunet. Immunet will work as an antivirus, will work as an anti-malware. It's very, very, and it is free from Cisco. It is very powerful. Immunet is wild. Yes, so yeah, thank you so much. We've come to the end of the presentation, and I would have loved to talk about social engineering and phishing methodologies and methods, but that would be a topic for another day. It is not something we can cover with all this that I've covered already. Okay, so we'll be going to question. Hope my moderator is still there.
Yes, I'm still here. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this session, and I believe every other person have been enjoying this. So it's time for question and answer now. Anyone with question, you can just type it on the chat box and let's know your question. Some questions have been coming. Some people have been asking some questions. So maybe we should start with that first.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I saw a question in the Q&A. Cybercrime is so wild that we can't just be too careful. We're looking ourselves behind bars, like the physical. There is Web 2, there's Web 3 around and the corner. We are yet to overcome such crimes despite everything done. How are we sure Web 3 won't be dangerous, since we've been putting everything okay, online, right? Okay, so yeah, of course, with every emerging technologies comes their vulnerabilities. There is no technology that is 100% safe. Go and say it. Said I was the one that said it. There is no technology that is 100% safe. So, which is why security professionals and experts are continuously looking for a way to secure every emerging technology that is being rolled out. Like the Web3, we have a lot of people already, trying to look at how can we, what are the technologies to implement? What are the mechanisms to implement to make sure that Web3 it becomes a safe place for people and educate people on how they can stay safe while they, why they utilize Web3. And Web3 is basically accessible via the internet. So when we talk about Web3, we are only talking about a more advanced internet. It's not something new. It's just a more advanced internet beyond what we have experienced before. So it means that the solutions and the security mechanisms we have already, we need to magnify it and then add to it, and then improve it in order to, protect individuals while they use the Web3, the VR, the XR, and the metaverse and the rest. Right? So yes, it is still possible to stay safe even on Web3. Of course, we cannot eradicate the fact that there will be cyber crimes and cyber criminals trying to leverage that technology. Thank you. Okay.
There are other questions. I think someone also asked another question.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
see that.
Yeah. How do we determine that IP address is safe? IP address is safe. IP address, yeah, of course. I know from the security standpoint, there are some malicious IP addresses. So what I will advise you is you can go on virustotal.com. Virustotal.com. So when you go on virustotal.com, put the IP address on VirusTotal and click, the search button. So VirusTotal has integrated solutions from different security organizations and security applications. So those vendors will now be able to scan based on the review they have and based on their research at their own end. You bring, to your VirusTotal platform. It's free. You don't need to register. VirusTotal.com. Type the IP address there. You'll be able to see if it is malicious or not. Or you can go on Google and type latest malicious IP addresses. You'll see all of them there. right? Okay, so I think I've been able to answer that question of determining if our IP address is safe or not, right? Okay, so as a cybersecurity, I don't know, professional or something, what are the kind of programming languages that he or she must work on? Python is one of the programming languages that we use in cybersecurity. Python, we use Python to write security tools. We use Python to automate tasks and the rest. And then, some other people still use Java, but Python is the most easiest one that cybersecurity professionals use, very handy, and then they use that to automate security tasks, and then they use it to build security solutions. Yes, Python, and then a bit of Java. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I think those are all the questions that we have. I don't know if you still have any other question, you can still bring it on so that we can answer. And let me add this. I don't know if you are interested in cybersecurity. It is a promising and sort of the future of technology, because as we speak, the internet penetration, that is the use of internet, increases every day. And it increases every day, and by that, the threats and the risk that comes with it also increases. So even right now, there is 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs, 3 around the world. In US alone, there is 700,000 unfilled cybersecurity jobs, right? So it means that we still need more people in this field, in this industry. So if you're interested, of course, go for it. How do you start? You don't need to change. If you're already studying something else in school, you don't need to change it, right? How do you start? Leverage massive open online courses, free learning resources online. Do I need a degree in the field before I can practice? No, you do not need a degree in the field before you can practice. But we normally encourage people to have a degree, because some organizations, of course, have taken it as upon themselves to ask for degree, but some don't ask. So because of balancing that, some asking and some not asking, we just encourage people to have a degree in cybersecurity. But if you're already doing something else in school, you don't need to change. You can always do cybersecurity at your master's level, right? And then there are certifications that you can get. Even if you have done your master's already, you don't want to go back to school, there are some certifications you can get that beats even having degrees. So yes, I think I've been able to answer that. So there are online resources. Yeah, learning online resources. You can go on Udemy, you can go on Coursera. I started with YouTube years back. I started with YouTube. They have scattered across YouTube different resources, videos that you can use to learn about cybersecurity and start your career. On Coursera, there are free courses on Coursera. I have more than 14 course certificates on Coursera, right, on cybersecurity, and most of them I got them for free. Now I have on Udemy, there are free courses. Udacity is there. You can learn, Future Learn is there, and the rest of them like that. EDX is there. Of course, some of these needs you to pay, but majority of them are free. So you can leverage these resources to kickstart your career. And don't forget to also look for communities to join. Thank God you are part of AngelHack. This is a big deal, because this connecting with other professionals, in the field, and connecting with other great people that are in the community, right? Join more communities that will help you to build your career, right? And our first speaker spoke about that, right? Okay, so what of Coursera? Yeah, I mentioned Coursera. Coursera is part of those platforms where you can learn for free. Okay. Do we expect more frauds and scams due to Web3 and blockchain? Due to Web3, yes, expect more frauds and scams. Now, due to blockchain, do not expect more fraud. But due to cryptocurrency or cryptocurrency, expect more frauds and scams. Blockchain is a security technology. Blockchain helps to secure, is a decentralized technology that gives transparency to transactions online with smart contracts and the rest of them like that. So It is not like a technology that can be taken advantage of. Of course, a branch of blockchain is cryptocurrency, which is the currency, different currencies that you can mine and use as a form of transaction, of course. And based on that cryptocurrency, you should expect more scams and fraud in the future. And that is why we are, encouraging more people to come into the field and learn, gain the competencies and the skill that is required to protect organizations, individuals, and the society. Thank you. I hope I've been able to answer all our questions. So if there are no other questions, I think I will be disconnecting the presentation. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shegun Olaniyo. Thank you, Mr. Arish. This webinar has really been a success with the help of both of you. And I'm sure the participants have learned a lot, like myself, I've learned a lot. And it's like as if the webinar should just continue, because I was really enjoying the what you were telling us about security. And then I discovered that there are so many things I still need to be aware of concerning cybersecurity. Thank you so much. And hopefully we get to communicate with you, and I hope we'll be able to communicate with you more often. That's concerning security, and also for internships. So Mr. Arish, you talked about that. Thank you so much for this webinar. Thanks for your time. Thanks to everyone that's participated in this webinar. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it. I think we've come to the end of this webinar, except if there is one or two things that wants to be added. Mr. Adamlari, anything for us? Or Mr. Arish, do you have anything to? Or
No,
anything
we are good. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
If you want to stay updated with the future events, I think you can join AngelHack's Discord. Just send it on the chat.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So I think we've come to the end of this webinar. Thanks to everyone that attended. Gracias.